Okay, well, I thought I was at 4.3, but closer to 4.1. This is my Araroa gear list, so I'll just do a run through for anyone that's looking for any tips, or can give me tips, because I'm always looking to cut my weight down. All right, let's get into it. Right, whoops, hopefully I'm down low enough. So yeah, I'm about 4.1 and I'll go through my gear. I use 1.5 litre disposable bottle, and I use these sort of tops. They come on pump water bottles. I prefer them to the sport tops because I find they last longer. I tend to break the top on the other ones. And in my front pocket, I carry a 750. So I've got if I need more water, I'll just get another one of those water bottles. But I'm pretty sure from what I've seen for the Araroa, for nearly all the bits, I should be fine with just those two. But I do have, I'll tell you a bit later, I do have another litre I can carry actually. I forgot about that, so I'll get to that. Alright, so I may as well go there now to clarify that. And that's my water filter. So that will hold another litre, so I can get over 3 litres, which I'm pretty confident that will cover me. This is the Catadine B-Free water filter. I've got the black one. I've used the other sort, the normal one. These bags are a bit thicker. That's the only difference. So I popped 2 bags. So I'm just trying out this one because it's a little bit sturdier, and hoping I don't get a hole in it. I think I must get holes in them because I leave it on this outside pack, and they must drag on tree branches or something because they're only tiny little pricks. All right. So I haven't weighed everything individually. Some things I know, some things I don't. All right, so I've got an umbrella, and which brand is it? 6 Moons. So I've got the 6 Moons one. I've tried a few different ones, but this one came out the lightest. So that's what I've gone with. So I think that might be around 180. It's a little bit lighter than my AGPTEK one. I think it's around 180 grams. Right, my rain jacket. It's the Montbell one, and it does have the pit zips, wherever they are. There they are. Yeah, it does have the pit zips, and they're quite long ones. So I pretty well have them open usually. I don't sort of, and quite often I'll wear it but I'll keep the front open if I can, just so I don't perspire too much in it. It's meant to be, breathable and all that, but yeah, take that with a grain of salt. I haven't found one that that doesn't really get wet on the inside if I do it up, and I'm walking, and the harder the walking, the sweatier I get, especially when I'm going uphill. All right, so rain gear. So I've got the umbrella, I've got the jacket, and I've got a rain kilt, which I made myself. I just to make it so I made it more movable, or gives me more, I can stretch my legs out better. I put a pleat in it, and it was my old quilt, which I just reused that part of it for this one, and that one. That way, yeah, it just means that I'm not restricted in my leg movement at all. With this one, I've tried using studs. I'll be interested to see how that go. They're very light, but just the backup, I put loops on it. So if the studs go, I can just I put another loop here. I can tie a bit of cord across, which will be annoying if I have to, but it does mean that I still will be able to use it if I have to. And I can't remember, I think that came in around 60 grams or something. Right, what have I got here? This is my toiletry, washing, all that kind of stuff. I know it's a bit overkill, but I carry 2 of these little microfibery towel things, and that's because I've got a single wall tent, and yeah, I just find that allows me to get it a little bit drier. I don't like packing it up when it's wet on the inside, so it allows me to get a little bit drier. So I've got 2 of those. I can't remember the weights, but yeah, I could get away with one, I'm sure, but you know, luxuries and all that. No worries. What's next? Oh, little thing of Dr. Bronner's. I've found that really good. I only need 1 or 2 drops to wash my hands, and I can use it for pretty well everything. Although I'll chuck that over there. I'm gonna have to tidy this up after. Bugger. All right. I do carry some. Oh no, that's left over. That's an old bit of toilet paper from the previous hike, so I'll chuck that. I do carry. Is it in here? Oh yeah. I just carry some of these little. They're little sheets that you can use to wash your clothes with. Little not dishwashing, but washing powder. But they're like a sheet. I normally have them in a plastic bag actually, but yeah. So I use that for washing my clothes in between if I want to wash something out in between being in some, in a town where I can access something better. The old bamboo toothbrush, and I did cut it down. I ummed and ahed where it was worth it, but I did cut it down and sort of rounded it off a bit so it'd be a bit smoother, easier to hold. But yep, toothpaste, is it? Oh no. Now here's another thing I did. I made this. You can buy them, but they worked out quite heavy. So I just made a little bowl. I've made it plenty big enough so I can use that every night to wash my feet out if I'm, if I don't have access to something better. But it's also big enough for me to wash my clothes in just one thing at a time. So yeah, I can do it anywhere, anytime. And I can actually see I've got a hole in the bottom, so I'll have to tape that. Lucky I saw that, so I'll just put that over there, and I'll tape that up. What have I got? This is my deodorant. I just get one of those ones with the ball on the top, but they're quite heavy, so I flick the ball out and then I pour it into a little squeezy bottle and put it on my finger and just rub it on wherever I want it, usually under my armpits, yep. So, and that's a 50ml squeezy bottle, so I don't have to, if I get a new one, I can just put the whole lot in without wasting any. Which you could go a lot smaller. I just do that because I didn't want to waste money too much. You got to waste some, but not too much. Sunscreen, same sort of thing. I just put it into a small thing. I haven't got my clothing here, but I wear long shirts, gloves. I've got a hat that covers everything. I wear long pants. Only place I use sunscreen is basically my face, this part here. So I don't need a lot, but I definitely need it. I've got the lighter coloured skin, so I do burn easy, and I've had a number of skin cancer things that have been ripped off. Lip gloss, for me it's a must, and I know you can get smaller versions, so you could save a bit of weight there. Yeah, I'm fine with taking that. I guess it's a luxury, but I do have a shaver. I've cut the thing off because I'm not a beard person, so probably once a week I'll try and use a bit of my Dr. Bronner's and froth it up best I can and just shave it down a bit. Toothpaste. I find I've got heaps of these. I used to get, when I worked at a school, I'd get in like hundreds of these with toothbrushes for the kids, and we never ever used hardly any of them. So yeah, I've got heaps of these little 10-gram ones. Probably for the TA actually, I might put in the next size up. I do have another size up, but that will last me quite a while. It's quite surprising how far it can go if you want it to. And there's another one in there, which obviously was one that was near empty. So, and these little things, I'm sure lots of you have seen them. They're little towelette things. You just put them in water and then they puff up. And they're pretty well throw away, but I usually can get away with using them for a couple of goes if I'm careful. Otherwise, get away with once. when I've finished with them, I'll just put them on the outer of my pack if I can, so they dry out, so I don't carry that weight with the water, and then get rid of them next time I get a chance. And I've just got a few of those in there. I've even got a few I haven't cleaned out because there's the wrappers from a few oldies. Right. So that is, I guess, my toiletry and that kind of gear. What else? Oh, ditty bag. I'll try and not take too long because I know these things can drag out. I have got a face mask in there. I don't know if I'm going to need that anymore, but I might put that in a separate pile so I know what goes back in what bag. This little bag has got mini tweezers, so, like a titanium whistle. It's got a little titanium knife and a little compass. Compass is, you know, it'll give me a rough idea where north is. It's not super accurate. It also has an insert for a pen, which I'm actually going to get rid of that because I've got a new one, which I'll show you after. But rather than take a pencil, I just take the inside. This was off of a mini pen, so I've got something I can write with if I have to or want to. But it's small and easy to take. But I'm going to swap that out, so I'll put that over there. Right, that goes in that pile. Leukotape. So I've been using Leukotape and found it very good. I am going to try something else. I'll take the Leukotape as well. But the Leukotape here, I've actually put it onto the wrapper that you get on AGPTEK. Sorry, I'm not looking at the screen very well, am I? I'm just looking at what I do. I'm not used to looking at the screen. Yeah, so the backing here is off of AGPTEK, which is that stuff the sports people put on. You know, you see it where they're trying to just put a little more protection on a joint or something. And that brings to the other thing I have been trialing out is this is AGPTEK, but it's it's for swimmers, so it's the waterproof version. And I went out and did a 300k hike about 6-8 weeks ago, and I tried that and it wasn't too bad. And I've got the convenience there. I don't have to, you know, put it on a separate wrapper. It's not quite as sturdy, but I reckon it might do the job. And if it does, I'll probably switch over to it just because I'm lazy, and it's real easy. So that's a project. And with the Leukotape now, what I'm doing with I might even have one here. I'm actually putting it on baking paper that you use in the oven because that's sort of got like a slippery surface. And that one isn't one of those, but I did that and I had some success with that. So that's rather than having to get that tape off of AGPTEK after someone's used it, I have found that very cheap and easy to do. So baking papers, for those that don't cook, is just paper you line a tray with so that things don't stick to it when you're cooking. I've got some Cuban fibre tape. I make my own, so and I've got some for the floor, which I've never had to use. I've never had a puncture in the floor, and I've got the lighter version for the walls. But it pays to hand it, and it's extremely effective. I've used it on the walls a number of times, and when you have to use it, the tent's fine. It works really, really well. Spare sports cap. This is one of the older ones. So this is the saw I used to use, which is very common on YouTube, but I find they break at this joint here. Sort of especially if I'm on a long hike. And I found the others are pretty well bulletproof, the sort you get on a pump bottle. My scissors, these weigh 8 grams, I do know that. They're titanium, and I don't think I've ever used a knife when I hike. I use these, open all my packets with them, you know, cut my tape with them. They're probably the only two things I need when I'm hiking, as far as scissors and knives are. So, and I find they're great. Trying to think. I got them off of Amazon, the American one, but I'm trying to think, and I know they're in American terms, I think they were they're under 3 inches. I think they're about 2.5 inches or 2 3/4 inches long. But they're 8 grams, and I just use a bit of straw. So just put a little split in the end, and I've had that same bit of straw on these and done probably 3,000 kilometres in them on that. And yeah, so if you look after something, it can last, even if it is only a cheapy thing. This is a little pot of spare sunscreen because I've got to be really careful with that. So I just take a little pot as my emergency one if I ever run low, and also sunscreen, because I have it in my hip pocket normally, not in my pack, is something that I could lose. I have lost my lip gloss before, so I always carry a spare one of them now as well, which would be that. This is chafing cream. Yeah, I just put it in a separate pot, and I've got it in a different coloured pot so I don't mix it up with my sunscreen. So yeah, I know the green is for chafes. And look, this is one I got from Coles. It was just like, I don't know, can't remember which even one it was, but yeah, I'm sure you can find out more about which different sorts you can use. I can't remember. Started with an S. If it comes to me, I'll burst it out. Blister bandages. So I don't know if these are the sort of, normally you would just put this over a blister and then leave it on, but I find if I do that when I'm hiking, because I'm walking lots of Ks and on rough terrain, they don't last too long. So I'll put, and I will actually now, I just cut a piece off, put it over the blister area, and I put Leuco tape, or now I'm going to be putting my KT tape over it. And it just gives that little bit of a buffer, and it also means the tape's not sticking to the area where you're going to have that soft skin that might rip off. And yep, that has worked for me. As you see, I've got 3 of them, and I'll probably get 4 out of each of them. I think the last hike I did, I had about 3 blisters, but the one before that I got about 8. The one before that, which was the longest one I've done, I only got 1. So. And I wore the same shoes and socks, so I'm not, you know, I think it may be partly to do with how wet your feet get, and I guess a few different factors. I always, in my emergency pack, I carry a little tiny bottle of bleach. It's only a 10ml, but as a real emergency, if my filter clogged, I could risk putting a drop of bleach in, or maybe 2 drops per litre, depending on how dirty the water is, as a real last minute backup. But also I use that to clean other stuff, or if I've got a wound, I figure I can just dilute that and it'll help kill a few germs. Having said that, I've never really had a wound I've had to clean. The mini Bic, I have a spare one. I have another one in my cook set. I do have a couple of alcohol wipes. So yeah, and again, I've never had to use them, but thank goodness, that's lucky. And the other thing I do, because I have lost these before, I carry spare lids for my little bottles. Yeah, I lost the one off my soap thing, and that was a real pain, so now I just always carry a spare lid. I've got 2 sizes, so I've got 2 size lids. And I've got a spare washer for my Sawyer, which I'm not actually using this time, although I'm still umming and ahhing about that, because my Catadine, when I do long hikes, I do find really does slow down quite a bit. The Sawyer's a little bit more robust, so I may change my Catadine, in which case I just keep that in there. It doesn't weigh much, that way I can't forget it. So yeah, I have a spare. If you do have a Sawyer, they do advise carry a spare washer, because if you lose them, it'll leak when you try to use it. And what have I got? Oh, earplugs. I found these shaped, like one shaped like that, I find are quite effective. So, and I carry spares because I have lost them before. Got a little bit more Leuco tape. These are anti-diarrhea tablets, and I've never had to use them, but so I've sort of cut it down. I've only got 2 now. I used to carry more. There's my spare earplugs. And then I've got a few of those, what are they called? You know, those tablets you take if you've got inflammation, pain. Yeah, and again, I've never had to use them, so I've been a bit lucky with that. But yeah, I have a few of those. Looks like I've only got 4, so there's a loose one, so I'll have to probably, maybe before I go, I'll just swap them out. Alright, so that's Ditty Bag. Next one's electronics. This is the heavy one. And I will share something with you at the end about this. But so electronics for this, I'm just taking a little 20 amp anchor. Unfortunately, they don't make them with an AU plug, or the plug you use in New Zealand, so I'm used to that, so I have an adapter. So that's, and all I do, I rely on just charging up this, and if I'm staying somewhere longer, I'll charge everything, but if I'm only staying somewhere short, I'll just focus on charging this. This is a 20 watt, so this can only charge at 18 watt max. So 20 watt one, I can charge this 80%, I think, in about 2 hours, 40 minutes. This is the Nightcore 10,000 one that people probably already know about. It's 150 grams, yeah. The rubber band that's there, because sometimes I take 2 depending on where I'm going. I don't think I'll need it in New Zealand. So if I take 2, I have a rubber band on one, so I know which one I've been using, and then when it goes flat, I know to swap to the other one. Right, let's put this in another pile so I can pack it up easier. Yep, so probably people are aware of this, the Nightcore. It's the 25, NB25, I think. Sorry, I keep not looking at the camera, I'm not used to the camera. And I just made my own little cord, and again, yeah, you can find lots of clips on how to do that in YouTube, making a cord for one of these. So it's a Nightcore NB25, pretty sure. Yep. Cords. Now I have found something just recently, which is gonna, I'll go to this first. I carry a little MP3 player instead of headphones, and I do that because I don't want to use my phone for anything but navigation and photos. So this little thing, AGPTEK. So that's yeah, it lasts for 70 hours on one charge. The screen is rubbish, you can't see it in the sunlight at all, but I always manage to, if I don't use it often, but if I do, but I put podcasts, music, and I've actually put learn French on this one, so I get really bored. I can practice a language as I'm walking in the, if I'm stuck somewhere in the rain, I've got nothing to do all day or something. Yep. Right, I'll talk about that one later, but that's obviously for your phone. I haven't got it here, so I'll have to stop the video. Basically, on my trekking pole, I just put a little thing on the end, so that I can screw this onto it, and then I can use my trekking pole as a selfie stick. And then I've also put a little thing in the top of the trekking pole, so I carry one of these and I can screw that, and then that screws onto the top of my trekking pole, and if I can get it somewhere firm in the ground, I can then use it like a monopod. And I have done that on a few occasions, and I don't do a lot of videoing of that on the trail because I'm trying to move along, but yeah, but it definitely works. Cords. Now this is my latest thing to save weight. I do carry one cord that's slightly longer, but I have USB-C to USB-C, and then for my phone, rather than carry another cord, I carry an adapter. I'm so far away, you probably can't see it, but I've got an iPhone, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It's in my pack. Yeah, so it's got the lightning thing, and then I can put that on the USB-C cord rather than take another cord. And my phone and my headset and all those sort of things, I always charge them at night. I don't charge them when I get into a town unless I've got heaps of time. So I have one of them for the phone, and I've just found this recently, one I can use for my watch. I've got a Phoenix 7, Garmin Phoenix 7, and all I need is that to charge it now rather than the cord. So I can take that adapter off and put this one on. And then I have another adapter for, which I can't see, so it's not in here, but I have another adapter that I can click on there that then allows me to charge my light and my little MP3 player. I keep not looking at the camera. by focusing on what I'm doing. And the other thing I'm going to trial here, because it's a long hike, I bought this little adapter. It goes into your lightning socket, and then I've put a 500 gig SD card in it. So I had a few experiments, seems to work. I can transfer my videos and photos off of my phone onto this card if I start to run low on storage. So, and it's again small and light and convenient. Right, and then I do, because I'm always paranoid about losing things, I do actually have a spare lightning and adapter and one for my phone. One for my watch, sorry. So the lightning one's for my phone, yeah, the other one's for my watch. So I have a spare of those, which little things like that I always worry that I might somehow lose. Alright, what's next? Oh, my toiletries. And this was all in my weight, because this is sort of straight from weighing it. I don't usually carry more than that in toilet paper, and I take the roll out the middle. Araroa, I reckon that will be heaps, especially for the North Island. Maybe I'll take a bit more for the a couple of bits in the South Island. Cook system. So I've made this little bag. Yep. And then I think my cook system comes in at, I think it might be 140 grams, 120 grams, something like that. I've got a carbon lid. I've got the 550 pot. It's the Totes lightweight pot. Where can I chuck this? I'm running out of spaces. Put it there. Then I've got like a windshield, and I just made this one myself, but you can buy them as well. I made this one because it was, you know, all I need. And I just bought the this really thin titanium sheet off of AliExpress. I buy a few things off AliExpress. I have a bit of salt in there. I tend to like a bit of salt with my food, pop the flavour a bit. So that's just a little bag of salt, and I probably need it after all the perspiring. Now my cook system is, I use Mefo. So this is like one of those cat food tins, and I've actually made it half size. So what I did was I cut it around the middle in half and then push the top half over the bottom half, and that just gives it a lot more strength. And then for the wick, for those that are interested, I've found this stuff that I use it in kilns so it can handle extreme heat, but I use it as the wick. It's ceramic fibre sheet, I think it's called, and I find that is great. It just, I do have to change it out after a little while, you know, if it's been there a long time, but the Mefo just soaks up it so fast, I virtually don't have to wait to light it. And then the centerpiece for that, I've just got a bit of sheet titanium, which is a lot thicker than the other one, a bit stiffer, and you can't see it there, I'm sure, but there's a few little holes that I've put around the edges, or half holes, so that the air can flow. That sits in there, and then I have a little medicine measuring thing, and I think 25 mil is that's all I need. Pour that in the middle and light her up. I carry a bit of scourer just to clean my thing out, and the mini Bic. So that's my cook system. I think it's under 140, but it's around that 140 mark. That's my Mefo jar. I've even got some Mefo in it, so I've included that in my base weight. So, but yeah, yep. So methylated spirits, and it's going to be real easy to get, I believe, on this hike. I don't like getting out of the tent at night, so that's my emergency wee jar if it's raining outside or something. I don't want to get out. So at night time. So that's what that is. It's not my cold soaking jar. It looks, if I had a cold soaking jar, I'd be making sure I had a different colour lid on it, so I didn't get them confused. Tent stakes. I made my own little bag. I've got a few different ones. I normally use these titanium ones. These are about, I think they're 3.5 mil thick. They're a little bit sturdier than the sort that I originally found out about. I've got a couple of these ones. These were Helinox ones, which they weigh 10 grams. I've just put a couple in there out of curiosity. I'm going to go for a hike, just to, I haven't been hiking for a few months, so I'll go for a hike and I'll try them out. I'm a bit worried about camping on the sandy bits. It's alright if I've got rocks around, but yeah, if I've got to camp somewhere sandy, I'm not sure how I'll cope with that. But yep. So that's all in the front pocket. Oh no, it's not. Oh, and my spoon. Can't remember what sort of spoon that is. I had a longer handle one, but I don't need it because I don't eat out of the bag, so this is fine. And I just like the fact it's smaller. It could fit it in smaller space. Don't have a lot of room. Side pockets. Seem to have taken stuff out the side pockets. I've already done that. They were the drink bottles and my tent. Oh, on the back, I just use a little solar panel. Obviously, if it's cloudy, it doesn't do anything. But I did the Lara Pinta Trail a few months ago, and basically, yeah, my phone was fully charged at the end of every day on that one, except one day when it rained. And I did the Hyson Trail, and I reckon 70% of the time this kept my phone charged. I did have good weather, so it really is weather dependent, obviously. So I just leave that, and I have a hook there, and then I've just got a what do you call them, a nappy pin, safety pin, and I just pin it onto this little loop here on the front of my stretchy pocket. Yeah, just so it doesn't, and then I just try and move it in the direction of the sun, but it sits up that way, so it catches quite a bit of sun. Yeah. All right, and then on the back, this is my sit pad come part of my sleeping system. Yeah, so it's just a bit of foam with some foil on it. When I'm sleeping, that's good because that radiates the heat back at me. It's not my main mat though, I do have a mat inside. I use this because I'm a front sleeper, which is unusual. So my elbows always end up touching the ground. So I'll put this on my tent floor that way, and the sleeping mat will go that way. I keep not looking at the camera. And that way, if my elbows go off, they land on this and I don't get cold. And it can be used as a sit pad. If it's really cold, you can sort of wrap it around your butt or something, I guess, to keep warm in the day. I missed one thing out of my ditty bag, my little sewing thing. So I've got like just a bit of thread, not much. I've got a hooked, I hope you can see this stuff. I've got a hook needle, just find that easier to use. And I carry let's get that back in. I carry one of those needle threader things, which is in there but it doesn't want to come out. And it's super lightweight, just my eyesight's not great. So I carry one of these so I can thread a needle if I have to. There's virtually no weight in it at all, so I don't think about it. And that just sits in there. Yep. And that goes in my ditty bag, so that obviously fell down. Alright, my tent. My tent, it's a Dyneema fibre one, but I made it myself. I was using the Pleximid. This one's slightly heavier, but it's a lot roomier. So, and I've only used it twice now. I've done about 600 Ks in it, but I think it's going to be alright. I've got to make one adjustment. Weighs 450 grams, single person. It's like, but there's plenty of room inside to store. It's got the reason I did it was I wanted to experiment a bit. I've used 2 trekking poles. I'll probably have to do that as a separate thing for you. But yeah, basically it's my tent that weighs 450 grams just as far as the gear goes, and it's a homemade one, which it was a bit of effort, and I think I made 3 before I got to this one, maybe 4 actually. So it cost me more than buying one because the material was very dear to buy, but I mean, I wanted to see if I could do something different and see if, experiment a bit with trying to make myself as comfortable as I can while I'm lightweight. What have I got? Oh, so I've got the Ultralight. It's the regular length, but it's the wide version. So I think it's 310 grams. And I just put a bit of elastic around it to hold it in place. I haven't got it in my pack, but I do have a little electric pump, weighs 80 grams, and I'll see how I go. I might even add that because I will at the end I'll explain how I reduce my weight even further. In my pack that is. Yeah, but that's sometimes I'm just not in the mood for pumping this up if I've walked for 12 hours. So I'll chuck that over there. So it's the Ultralight regular wide, and I think it's 310 grams. Oops. So this is my clothes. So I just use, I only got this recently, saw it somewhere. It's a Cedar Summit fly net, and I'm using it also as my bag for my clothes. But it only weighs 11 grams, so it's super light. I'm obviously anything that's super light, you've got to be super careful with. So, alright, I know I'm taking too long, I feel like I've been talking forever. Alright, what have I got in here? So I've just got a spare pair of Adidas sort of boxes, short things, sort of, well, yeah. So, and I carry I was carrying a beanie, but I'm carrying a down hoodie. This one's from Goose Feet Gear, weighs 30 grams roughly. Yeah, I think this one's 30 grams, and I was wearing a beanie, but I found that when I was sleeping it always came off my head, whereas this doesn't. And yeah, and it definitely, it's for what I need to be comfortable, it's been fine the times I've used it. This is just a spare t-shirt I wear to sleep in, and I found this on AliExpress, and it weighs 60 something grams. It's obviously a lightweight sport one, but for sleeping in, it's all I need. And then it's obviously, if I wash it, it just dries, no worries, real quick, which is also another bonus. Yeah, can't really say much more about that. That was a $20 one. It wasn't, yeah, but it's very light. This is a new bit of kit I bought this year. I saw someone said about it on the Ultralight website. So where's the brand? Cumulus. I'm pretty sure they're in Poland, but it weighs 180 grams, and it's got 3 ounces, so like 86 grams of fill in it. So it's very good. Yeah, the fill is 850. Yeah, it was the only thing. I really wanted 950, but I couldn't get it. But the fill is 850 on that. But yep, it's yeah, it doesn't have a hood because I have the separate hood. But yep, it's good so far. I don't know. I don't wear it much. I can't wear it when I'm walking. I get way too hot. So you pretty well wear it just when I'm sitting still. But it's done that job fine to date. Anything else? Yep. I've got the MacPack Nitro sort of mid layer, super lightweight, 140 grams. I think mine's a medium, but it's even at a medium that's loose fit. So it does have a hood. The wind goes right through it, so it doesn't give you much in the wind. But I find that it's not much I can walk in. This just breathes great when I'm walking, so I can keep it on and walk for early in the mornings. And if it is windy, I put my rain jacket over the top just to buffer that a bit. Yeah, and yeah, been very happy. It's great to sleep in as well because it's sort of stretchy. It moves really well with you. What else have we got? Yep, just a spare pair of socks. I've got my main hiking socks, or I should have brought them out. They're actually a thicker thing. The spare ones, these are just so much to keep things clean. They are. I can hike in them, just for a day, but they are much thinner. Can't remember what sort they are, but they wear some. Rohan. I think that these have got like a silver thread in them, so it reduces the smell if you're actually wearing them. And they're nice and soft. Gloves. So I wear gloves when I hike, just trying to keep the sun off me everywhere really at my age. You won't know until you get my age to really appreciate the need, probably. And I've got some of those possum down gloves that you've probably seen. AGPTEK sell them. I bought these from New Zealand. and all I've done is, so I can use my phone, on the thumb and the finger I've sewn some silver, it's like a metal thread, and it just allows me to swipe my phone. I got to, you know, it's a bit hit and miss, but it will work. So if I'm trying to navigate or something, I don't want to take my gloves off early in the morning, I can sort of get there with that thread on those two there. So I got the thread from AliExpress. Yep. And the last thing would be my sleeping bag, and that's everything in my pack. So I don't really need to pull it right out, I guess, but I've got a -1 degree quilt from Enlighten Equipment, and I've gone for the lightest stuff. So I've got like the 950 fill, and I've gone for the 7 denier fabric inside and out. And again, you've got to be super careful with that, but I haven't had a problem. And this sleeping bag, I would have done like at least 50 nights in it by now. Yeah, I've done the Hyson Trail twice, and I've hiked in Tassie I went down there for a month and hiked, and I've done the Larapinta. Well, I've done equivalent to that like 3 times. And then I've done a number of other little hikes. So yeah, So I haven't had a problem with using that finer fabric, I guess is my point. I have actually bought, because I was curious, a Cumulus brand quilt. It's a little bit heavier. I actually like it better, but for a long hike I'll go with the weight saving. I think the other one's 100 grams, 120 grams heavier, but it is also a -5 degree bag, I think. So, but I don't think I'll need that. I think -1 will be plenty for me. My feet get hot. I would use like a closed-in toe box, but I have got one, which I bought first because it's lighter. But my feet just get too hot, so I pretty well have to have the quilt. So it's probably at night time. They're cold when I go in, but after a couple of hours, I start to want to get the quilt off, which the rest of my body still wants it. So I've gone to the quilt so I can be quite flexible and just open it up a little bit at the end to a little bit of air in if I need it. That's it. Oh, now the other thing I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, one other thing. This is like my food bag. I use one of those baking bags you can bake your roast ovens in. And the reason I use it is because it's pretty well, it stops all the smell. So if I'm worried about mice and rats and all that, I can pretty well wrap this up. If I'm going to need more food, I'll take two of them and just, put whatever, the first few days in one and next few days in the other. And the other thing I do to keep my weight down is I repackage everything into freezer bags. You've got to be super careful with them, they're very delicate, but I've always managed to survive. I will take a few spares because they're so light in case I need them. And the plus of them is once I've eaten the food, there's very little weight in my packaging, and also I can scrunch it up really small afterwards. I have just put a pack of noodles in here because, which I haven't done it to, but that was just because I was going to go for a practice walk and I wanted to weigh my pack down a bit. So yep, and all I do is sort of spritz that off, get the air out and whatever I've got in it, and wrap it in and chuck it in. And even all my dinners, even when I buy one of those dinners that you get, like the dehydrated ones that you buy in the pouch, and you're meant to put your water in and just let it sit there and cook itself and then eat it. I'll actually repackage them and I'll pour them into my pot because I just don't want to carry the weight of the packaging. And I also, it's not before I've eaten it, and then after I've eaten it, I don't have the weight of my packaging either. So that is, and the other thing, now I virtually don't use a hip belt usually, only when my pack's really, really heavy. So I've made this belt up, and this doesn't attach to my pack. I have thought about making it, putting an adapter on here so I can clip my pack directly onto it. I just wear this, and I can I made these little pouches to the side. I can put all my electronics, my ditty bag, and my day's food in these. I can get over a kilo, probably close to 1.5 kilos out of my pack in these 2 pockets. I just put the heaviest stuff in them, and when I wear it, I can't even notice I'm wearing it. in fact, when I stop, I quite often unclick this buckle by mistake, thinking it's my backpack, and this thing falls on the ground. But the more it's a recent development, but I've found, it takes over a kilo off my pack easy. Like I say, my electronics bag weighs over 550 grams or something with the back, with all the stuff, I think. And my ditty bag, that sort of adds up a little bit. And then I always carry, like my bag, I always carry nuts for my food during the day. I don't buy bars. I tend to just buy bags of nuts and seeds and mix them up, and dried fruit. And then so I can carry probably a half a kilo of that in here as well. So two bags of that. I usually have about 250 grams in a bag. 2 bags of that I can squeeze in here with that other stuff, and like I say, I can get at least 1.2 kilos off of that. Oh, what's in here? Oh, yep. This is this is what I'm using for my pen now. It's the insert of a pen, but it's what I think they call it a space pen or something. So it can write upside down, and I think the actual ink is pressurized inside of it. So I'm just assuming that's going to mean it's more reliable. And again, I haven't been looking at the camera. My apologies. I'll probably have to redo the whole video because I've been looking down on my feet the whole time. So yeah, but I have found this to work well. Like I say, I just don't even know I've got it on. Even with that kilo in it, it's sort of, and that means my base weight, I can bring it down like, over a kilo of what's on my back. So I'm very happy with that little development. So it was a recent thing. All right, sorry this took so long. I'll have a look at it. If it's ridiculous, I'll have to start again. But I don't know how I can do it a lot quicker really, because there's so many little bits. All right, guys. If I see you on the trail, then say good day and enjoy your hike. I'm starting in October. I think it'll be the 26th. If I can wangle, I get there on the 24th. If I can get up, there's no bus on the 25th, so I have to wait to get the bus up on the 26th. So if I can wangle a way to get up on the 25th, I will. Yep, and so enjoy your hike, and if I see you, say good day, and yep, be nice to meet you, whoever you may be. That's if anyone watches this video. I'm sure my daughter will, my #1 viewer. Whoops, I forgot to mention my pack. This is the pack I was using. It's a Z-Pack Nemo. Can't remember now. I kind of gave it a rough trot. Fixed it up with a bit of Leuco tape and some OKT tape, I should say, on there. And it's got a slice in the bottom here, which I tried to cover up, but I sort of wasn't confident, so I'm going to update. I am thinking of reusing the straps on another pack, but the one that I've got that I was showing in this video, this is one that I made. Well, that's something else I forgot. I use a Nyrofume bag as my pack liner. Forgot to mention that. So this pack, I made it myself. It's I don't know the volume, but it's a little bit bigger than that one. That's a 38 litre, so I'm guessing this is just over 40 litre. It weighs 270 grams, so I was very happy about that. There's a young English, or a couple of guys, and they made a few packs, and they advocated for these wide shoulder straps, so I've experimented with that. I haven't taken this out on a decent height to know if it's going to work, so I have got a backup plan if I feel this isn't up to it. Get myself have a different pack in case, but hopefully I'll go out and try and hike a couple of kilometres and see how it handles the weight, and I'll load it up heavier than I normally would load a pack. But anyway, I've got like a stretchy pocket for my drink bottle. I've got a few Velcro things I sewed on here, and I realised, because I watched the video, you can't see all this stuff, so I'm going to come in closer. Don't know what's in view, but so I've sewed these bits on here. That's to put my umbrella in, and I've put bit of elastic here to put the end of the umbrella in there. Hopefully, I've no idea what you're seeing now. So yeah, so that was that. Yep. So yeah, it is what it is. It's made of the same material as my other one, and I was lucky I found this mesh that was the same, so a nice green colour to go with it on AliExpress. What else? Oh, there was a couple of things that you couldn't see. That's right. So I thought I'd quickly zoom in. That other thing went ridiculously long. I mean, the first part of this video went ridiculously long, but so you can see what I meant. These, where is it? Oh, hopefully you can see it now. These are those little adapters that I put on my USB-C cables for my phone and for my watch. And I do have another one. I'm not sure why it's not in there, so I'm glad I saw it's not in there. For my other two things that have just the micro USB. So I've got another adapter for that, which I'm not sure where it is because I was testing it to see if it worked the other day, and it did. And I think that's the only thing I need to show you in close up. Oh, the other thing was just about those sports caps that you probably wouldn't have been able to see that, but yeah, that's not really critical. Was that it? Oh, the tent pegs. I'm sure you understood the shepherd hook ones. That's a closer view of the Helix ones. So they're not particularly big, but they've definitely got a lot more surface area than my shepherd hooks. So, and you can get these in a wider version that weighs about 16 grams. I think these are 10 grams. But anyway, I'll test them out. Is that it? Did I forget anything else? Hopefully not. Sorry this took so long, but I don't know how to make it quicker. All right. Thank you very much for watching. And yep, if I see you on the trail, I'll say good day. Bye.